11. My name's Lois, and I work as the greenhouse manager for Sunset Nursery, and I'm a horticulturist. So I've had to learn about biology, and it helps me with my job, so there's a reason for you to learn all that stuff. So I'm going to give you some practical samples of things we work with every day in the greenhouse. So you're learning about the basic classifications and divisions of plants, how scientists sit around and they divide plants up and into groups so we can better understand how they work. So vascular plants and non-vascular plants. Most plants are vascular. They have cell structures that allow them to have structure so that they can grow, and almost all plants are vascular. Ferns, flowering plants, trees, conifers are all vascular. So almost every plant you see would be vascular. Non-vascular plants don't have that structure. They are lower class of plants, probably an earlier evolved group of plants. And things like, the only example I could find here would be sphagnum moss. So mosses which have no structure, can only grow a few centimeters because they don't have the structure to grow. Bogs are made up of mosses. We use it for planting in soil. We use it as a form of fuel, so that those are non-vascular. Seedless versus seed plants. Most plants produce seed, but seedless ones would be like ferns, which don't produce seeds. Instead, ferns produce spores. I think this particular fern is too little to have any spores on it, but they're usually little black spots or brown spots on the back of the leaf. Spores are different from seeds in that they don't have much of a food supply. It's harder to propagate from spores, which is why ferns produce lots of spores. Way more spores are produced than seeds because it's a less dependable and more complicated form of sexual production. Anything with a flower produces a seed or has the potential to produce a seed, and a seed has a embryo with a food supply, but it needs to be fertilized. So that's the difference. A seed has to be fertilized by pollen from either another flower on the same plant or from another plant.
What kind of plant is that?
That's a geranium. These geraniums would be propagated from stem cuttings. So you just cut off a little piece of a stem and it would be rooted, it would be stuck in soil, and then roots would form. So it's not propagated from seed. Both things have its benefits. Seed production, as I said, is cheap and quick and easy. Vegetative or asexual propagation requires more skill. It's harder, you need better conditions. It has to be sterile, and humidity and temperature has to be controlled really well. But the benefits to this is that often you can control exactly what the next generation of plants are going to be like. If we take stems off this plant, it will be exactly like this plant.
Basically like cloning.
It's like cloning.
Right.
Yeah, so you'll get the same color of flowers, same growth habit, it'll be this plant. But from seed, there is some variety. So this guy is showing two adaptations. This is a kind of succulent called a crassula, and it has two adaptations. It has thick, fleshy leaves. So that means it's storing water, and so it can go much longer between watering. And it has, see the gray bloom on it, and you can scratch it off. It's a kind of wax, so that can prevent water from evaporating, so it holds its water well. So this guy has two separate adaptations that keeps it from drying out so fast. This is another one. This is a sansevieria, or snake's tongue, which has very thick stems, modified stems that are full of water. So you can ignore. This is impossible to kill, pretty much. Also, you can get plants that are hairy. This also prevents water from evaporating.
Oh, that one is full of hair.
This is a Venus flytrap. These grow in bogs. You can see it's planted in sphagnum moss now. Sphagnum moss has no nutritional value, so these plants had to develop a way of getting nutrients, and it would be by catching bugs. So they would, the leaves, oh, there it goes. The leaves emit a sweet fragrance, and the bugs come crawling in, and then they absorb all the nutrients out of the bugs. They need to be in like a terrarium, a very humid environment, and they're very easy to look after once the humidity's taken care of. And this is a pitcher plant.
All right.
So the leaves
Beautiful.
are modified to be a little trap, and bugs climb in there and can't get out, and then they get decomposed and absorbed and all that fun stuff.
Neat.
Yep, so there's quite a few carnivorous plants. So that's for low nutrient environments. These are air plants. These are actual real plants, but they don't grow any roots, and they don't need to grow in soil. This is an adaptation for low light environments, like in very dense tropical areas. So seed would like land on a high in the trees, and then these could grow up there, and they can get all the nutrients and moisture they need from the air. Absorb it through their stems and their leaves. They really don't grow in soil. We just put them in barky pots just to anchor them, more or less. They just grow, the roots just wrap around tree branches, and that way they could grow higher up in the canopy of the jungle and get sunlight that way.
So that's actually its root up at the top near your hand?
No, this is a stem. This
Okay.
is where, but all these roots here
Those ones.
would be all around a branch. They don't grow in soil. Monstera deliciosa, because the fruits are really delicious, apparently. I don't know. We don't get them here. But, yeah, it's called Monstera, I think, because they get so big. But it develops holes in the leaves, and that is an adaptation, again, to deal with low light conditions. It allows light to get to the bottom leaves, to go through.
So much, yeah, so much. So tell me, can you feel it? So much, so much.
Thank you so much for doing
No
this.
problem.
Make